It's good afternoon, Bronwyn Frazer. Thanks for joining us here at Yellow Shelf.
Thanks, Joe. How are you?
So good. Bronwyn, congratulations. Your new book, What If, has only just been released.
Yes. I purposely launched it on my birthday to celebrate the
Oh,
year,
yeah.
and it's called What If: How to Reframe Challenges into Growth Opportunities. And it's very much a self-development and well-being book with an undercurrent of spirituality. It's about looking at past and present challenges from a different perspective and perhaps seeing what are the growth opportunities? How did I grow? What did I learn about myself and others? And how can I use this to potentially heal what's going on and potentially future situations? And yeah, so there's 44 insights with personal stories attached. And they hit some pretty big, challenging moments in time, which include uncomfortable relationships,
Yeah.
like difficult relationships, um, healing during and learning through tricky situations,
Yeah.
whether it's in relationships or at work or just out in your general life. And then there's also a chapter on dealing with death because I know that is a massive challenge, but all of us need to face it at some stage. Um, and then the fourth chapter is actually using what you've learned to inspire yourself and create consciously as well.
Yeah, and I feel like even just for me in recent years, reframing challenges, I guess I've just kind of started to accept that that's a way to look at it and to feel comfortable. I now talk to my kids about reframing challenges and or setbacks or whatever you. Tell us a bit about, I'd love to know a bit about you and then what inspired you to write the book, your background and how you added value to the book.
Yeah, for sure. So I am one of eight kids, eight children. So I've that in itself brings some challenges. Uh,
Yeah.
so you learn a lot when you're in a big family. You learn that you need to share. You
Yeah.
learn that the world is not all about you.
Yes.
You quickly get feedback on your behavior as well. So that was a bit of a foundation and two amazing and incredibly resilient parents as well, who taught me, you'll get through this, and once you do, there's an opportunity beyond that, like and to look at life as an adventure as opposed to always feeling like a victim, I guess. Um, but having said that, yeah, I've been through some pretty tough situations. I experienced childhood bullying at the age of 10.
Mm.
Um, and that was a big moment that actually set me back for a little while until I did some healing work on myself. Um, I've moved a lot. I've traveled all around Australia and lived literally all around Australia and overseas.
Yeah.
Uh, I've worked in lots of different industries and roles as well. And some of those have been really good, but some have been really tough situations where I've actually learned, actually, this isn't what I want to do. And I've used it as a detour to redirect. Yeah, I've had, like everyone, some relationships that went well, quite a few that didn't. But I've also had to deal with some pretty big moments, including the death of my brother in 2019. Sorry, 2009. He died in his sleep, and there was no medical diagnosis for it. It's now known as adult SIDS. So
Okay.
that was a really big one. And during COVID, in the first year of COVID, my dad died. So that was pretty massive as well. But I've also had relatives die, and my beautiful pets, saying goodbye to them. So I introduced that as a topic because I know that all of us at some stage need to face it. Yeah. So there's lots of stories, personal stories, things that I've learned, and just basically, I'm not trying to tell people how to think. I'm just offering a different viewpoint and just sort of giving them a different perspective, I guess, to look at things that might have been really tough. But with time, you might be able to see, okay, there's what's the opportunity in that.
Yeah. And Bronwyn, I mean, you've just mentioned all these points, to get to, where you can share in the book. I'm wondering, can you share with us what point you decided to write the book? Because I think that's interesting too. Like so you might have all these thoughts, but then yeah, it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. What was that like?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it was a very unusual way that the book came to me, and so I was walking home one afternoon, late 2017, after dropping off a hire car in the lower North Shore of Sydney. And at the time, my little dog was not very well, and I needed a car just to get her to the vets quickly and get around and all of those other things. So I dropped the car off at the car hire place and I was walking the 5 kilometers home. Um, and all these thoughts just started coming into my consciousness, and it was very different for me. I always get inspiration for myself and sometimes, for work, because I've worked in communications for a long time and worked as a journalist. Um, but these were posed as what if questions, and
Yeah.
then there was an answer that came with it. And so the ideas were flowing so fast that I had to grab my car receipt that day and start writing down like a
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and then the ideas just kept coming, all of
Yeah.
these different ideas, questions and answers. And that happened every afternoon for about 4 Sundays in a row. So
Mm.
it just happened on the Sunday when I was walking home from the
Yeah.
car hire place. So it was very different. Um, and 2017, the end of 2017, I just thought, oh, maybe it's just inspiration for myself. And then 2018, I started a very full-on corporate job. And that sort of, I needed to just focus on that. And I put my notes aside. 2019, I started another degree, was a Bachelor of Health Science in Nutritional and Dietetic Medicine. So I was working and studying, and yeah, life was starting to get crazy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, my dad started to get sick that year, and yeah, he died the next year. And I just, with that happening and studying and working, and I relocated out of Sydney, moved back to the country. So I had a lot of transition moments that really, really challenged me. Um, and as a result of choosing to leave Sydney to be with my dad, all of my belongings went into storage, including my notes for the book. So I didn't actually access the notes until late May this year when I moved into my Blue Mountains home.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then I looked at it and thought, actually, there's some good stuff in this. I actually need to share this information.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I put the book together, and it's there to help as many people as possible if they resonate with it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And yeah, definitely reframing or looking at a situation from a different angle can help you to shift like feeling hard done by a
Yeah.
situation into the process of feeling way more empowered.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so for me, that's really important.
Well, it sounds like this year was, the year that, yeah, the notes came out and the book comes out. I feel like what if is a question I've asked lots of times over my life. And yeah, learning those skills just to, sometimes sit with the what if and then to, as your book will talk about, reframing and working through it. Bronwyn, tell us about how do we get the book? Where do we connect with you? I know you've got a really great website. And I think the book's on Amazon, I saw too, as well.
Yeah, it definitely is, Joe. It's available online on Amazon in print form and ebook. And before the end of the year, it'll be audiobook as well. Um, Alternatively, people can come to my website, which is bronwynfraser.com.au Frazer is with the Z. That's probably the only thing you need to
Yeah.
about spelling my name. And there's a book section there, and people can order an author signed copy of the book and get that sent to their home as well. So that's another option for people if they'd like.
Excellent. Well, I'll put all that in the show notes to make it really easy for people to connect. Bronwyn, enjoy this process of launching a book and what comes of it. Would you do another book down the track? Did you enjoy the process, I guess, is all, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm a diehard writer. I love books. I get so much from books. So I want to share information with others. My writing style is very simple. When somebody reads my work, they potentially think that it's taken me half a minute to put it together, but it's actually a lot more thought. So yeah, so the book
Oh, yes.
is only a fairly small book. But as far as writing other books, yes. So I'm in the process of writing a children's book.
Oh,
And I also need to write an adult nutrition book as well. So yes, so they're two things that are next on my radar.
fabulous. Well, look, I would love you to come back to Yellow Shelf with the kids' book and also the nutrition book. Thank you so much for joining us today and chatting about what if.
Thank you, Joe.
Pleasure.